We have three girls and a boy.
Sit in front. Just my arms. You can stand anywhere. This is Well, good evening, everybody. It's great to see y'all, and thank you for being on time. We appreciate that. We always want to respect our speakers' time. We're giving up part of their evenings, and they sort of don't have to and are not getting paid or compensated beyond the coffee mugs, which I think is pretty awesome. Before I introduce our speaker, and we're really fortunate to have him here tonight, before I introduce our speaker, I want to make y'all aware of a special opportunity that some of you may be aware of already. And that is the Conversation Partner program through International Affairs. Y'all all came in under the new curriculum, and the new curriculum requires an experience with other cultures type component, right? A lot of people will satisfy that by going and studying abroad. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the means or for other reasons can do that. Some of you will satisfy that by going on a mission trip or doing a week-long alternative break some spring. But some of you won't, for whatever reason, be able to hit one of those three markers. Doing a year as a conversation partner is a way to satisfy the experience with other cultures requirement. They are desperate for partners. All you really do is you meet with your partner once a week. You don't need to have any foreign language experience. You hang out with that person. You're helping them learn English. You're helping them grow in their understanding of American culture, whatever that is. And, and you may be picking up some of their language, which would be a huge bonus, right? A huge bonus if it's Arabic, if it's Farsi, if it's Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, a huge bonus to you. As some of you know, I'm going to China in a couple of weeks, and my Mandarin is pretty poor. So I would like to have had that opportunity, but I've just been too busy to do that. So please, email me if you are interested in that program, and I will send you the contact info. It's one of our honor students is helping coordinate that. It works over in international programs. It's a great way, even if you think you're going to study abroad anyway, to do something like this and get some community service hours. Victor? If you want to use it to satisfy your experience with other cultures requirement, we would expect a year. But you could do it a semester, and then if it's not working for you, it's not a prison sentence. Soon as possible. Yeah, they've got students who are ready. We don't want those students while they're here to be in a silo. And I'll say something else. In the South, and most of us are here, were born in the South, and I was. We say we value hospitality, and this would be an opportunity to kind of walk the walk a little bit and back that up. Other cultures, we don't talk so much about hospitality. They really bring it when it comes to hospitality. If you come to their culture, to their country, you're not paid for anything. You can stay with them anytime you want to, and they really bring it. They might say as much as we do about it. Our speaker tonight shifting gears, is Councilman David Smith. His district, from the city of Florence, his district is basically right out the door, starting on Pine Street. Am I getting that right? So you basically, if you walk out the door and walk across the street, you're in District 1, and that is his district. Still in your first term, is that correct?
Still first term.
Still first term. So we need to start working hard on his reelection, and we'll get started with that as soon as this class is over. He's an asset to the city, I think, for many reasons. Partly because he's very adept at being a mediator and bringing parties together. We have an unusual city council system where they have 6 city council positions. Who was the wise person who dreamed that up? You know, you have high votes, right? High votes, and so you need a peacemaker. You need people who can mediate. Councilman Smith is retired at military service. Worked for TVA, Wise Alloys, done a number of things, very active in the community, and now is one of our civic leaders. And you know, you may live in Muscle Shoals, you may be from Russellville, or you may be from California or Oregon, but the University of North Alabama sits, the entire university sits in the city of Florence. So we have a vested interest in the governance of Florence, but I think also just any public servant and leader has something to share with us that you may find interesting. So without further ado, Councilman Smith.
First, it's an honor to speak to you. It's really an honor. I was asked to speak to you, so it's really an honor. Really an honor. I was born about 4 blocks from here, right near the fraternity house, where the fraternity houses are. And I would come up to this field up here where you have your baseball field and your football practice field. There was nothing there at the time, and Pine Street didn't go all the way through. So we'd walk up those hills up there and play baseball and football up there before there was anything up there, except even the dorms over there on the side, across from Pine Street were not there. So I'm real old. Yeah. But I was born at that area, and my mother, she passed away a couple of years ago. Don't feel sad, but she lived a long life, 106 months. And my father lived to be 75. He died a little early, but still 75 years old. But when I went to school, I went to Burroughs Slater, which was there was no buses during the time, so you had to walk everywhere. So I had to walk about maybe 8 blocks to school to Burroughs Slater, and then when it moved down on Court Street, it's probably 12 blocks, 15 blocks. We had to walk everywhere we went. But all of my brothers and sisters, I had 2 sisters, 2 brothers. One of them went to the 11th grade, the other one went to the 9th grade. The other went to the 9th grade. Back then, high school education was something wonderful. Then if you got to the 9th grade, a lot of times you could do pretty well with jobs in the area. So I was the first one to graduate from my family. When I graduated my 11th grade year, my father and mother said that if you will graduate or either pass to the 12th grade, then we'll buy you a car. Now, back during that time, there wasn't many cars. There may be one car out of, maybe every 2 or 3 blocks there was a car. Now, I was going to get me a car. It was only like 4 years old. I never have had a new car, as new a car as that since. But anyway, I did get the car that summer. I got the car that summer, and I played basketball, and I was co-captain on the basketball team. But one thing I learned during that basketball time when I was a co-captain was that I couldn't quit. I never quit. Sometimes I was tired, I had asthma, and I still would have to run laps when one of us do something wrong. We all ran the laps. We call them horses. Either ran up and down the bleachers. If you miss a layup, run them down the bleachers. But anyway, once I graduated from high school, my aunt and we call them aunt, some people say aunt. So anyway, and my grandmother says that if you will go to college, we'll buy you a new car. So the sad and the happy part of it, I didn't go to college. I wanted to go to the Navy to serve my country. So I didn't go to college at that time. So I went in the Navy. I went in the Navy to serve my country. And, it worked out okay. You know, it worked out okay. But one thing, whatever you do, do the best. Whatever you do, just try to do the best you can. Try not to drop out of college. Try not. But if you do drop out, do something positive and keep going. Keep going. And try to get into some positive groups and positive organizations. Sometimes you can't get in there and be in charge of it, so you got to get in and learn and just be a part of it and just learn a little bit at a time. And your grades and everything will count, and your relationship with your friends will count a lot in the future. Sometimes you think it doesn't count right away, but it will. You're like, well, I'm just a part of it, so it's whatever group I'm with, and I'm just a part of it. But it'll count in the long run. Just get in there and be a part of it. Try to keep it together, just like I do on the city council. When I got on the city council, I'm going to fast forward. First, I was elected on the school board, and then after the school board for one term, I said I'm going to run for city council. But I ran 3 times, and the third time I won it. But when I got on the council, I said that what I'm going to do is try to be the glue to keep it together. So I tried to keep everything together. If there's a little tension someplace, I try to kind of smooth it out. So we get more things done that way, rather than spending 2 or 3 hours at a meeting and get nothing done. Just like, excuse me, for instance, the science building. We were going to give some money to the science building probably 3 or 4 years before then, but there was some bickering going on, so we didn't get it. So we did give you the money for the science building, part of the money, $3 million. But once I left high school, like I said, I went to the Navy. I went to Vietnam, served my boot camp at Great Lakes, which is in Chicago, right outside of Chicago, near Waukegan. They said Chicago, but I served my boot camp there. I left boot camp training, and I took surgical technician school right there at Great Lakes too. And my wife that I married, she was there too. That was one of the reasons why I went to Chicago. But anyway, we got married, and we have 5 children at the time. They're all gainfully employed and no problems. They're all doing well. But once I left finished my training at Great Lakes as a surgical technician, I went to San Francisco. From San Francisco, I boarded a ship, and the ship that I was on was what you call a troop transport. We carried troops and dependents from all over the Far East, and including Hawaii, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Guam, San Diego, and Los Angeles, and also those are the only places we went. Let me look at my list again here. But once I got out of the Navy, I came back home, and I had 3 children at the time. There was not much work, so I would dig a ditch, wash a car, or work on a car, or whatever I had to do to support my family. No stealing or no thugging or nothing, just I had to do what I had to. Back then, as compared to now, you may not think it was a lot, and it wasn't a lot. I would get $32 a month unemployment. I got $32 a month unemployment. So I was staying with my mother-in-law, and I would give her all of it but $5. And I kept $5, and they took that. Plus, I did a work around the house, like cutting the grass and doing repairs for about, we did that probably for 6 to 8 months. And then I got on TVA as a fish and wildlife net repairman. So we would go out and catch fish with our nets, and we would weigh them and check their ages. And the way you check the ages was on the catfish, you cut the back spine off and you count the rings on it like you do a tree. And then the shellfish, you take the shells and you look at the shells and you count the rings on it. That tell how old it was. And also you could tell what type of seasons we had. If it was a dry season, a lot of water, where the rings would be wider. If you had a season where there was a lot of rain. If it was a dry season, the rings would be real close together, even on that cut on the back or whatever. But after that, I stayed there for like, and that pays off when you try to do a good job. So I was there for about 6 months, and I applied for the electrician apprenticeship. So, seeing that I did a good job, didn't miss no days of work, and did my work, when it came time to become an electrician, I had a good recommendation. So I became an electrician, and I went to Browns Ferry as an electrician apprentice. And once I served my apprenticeship there, I went to Ford Motor Company, stayed 10 years, and then I left Ford Motor Company, left here, and so I went to Reynolds Metals, aluminum company, and I stayed there 10 years, and then I stayed the rest of the time at Wise Alloy. And then I retired from the local electrician local with 45 years in it, and I think it's 5 years ago when I did that. And oh, by the way, I didn't get the new car. But my aunt that lived in New York City, she told me, said, you could have had it made. You'd had a new car and everything. You'd had everything if you just went on to college. But everything worked out fine. Everything worked out okay. So don't ever drop your head. You might not get the job you want or the position you want. You just do the best you can. Do the best you can at that job. Somebody's going to see the work that you're doing. Somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to give you a recommendation. I don't have much more. I could talk forever, but I can. If you have any questions at all? Want to ask me any questions?
How did you turn in the Navy help you as a city councilman?
Well, you get to see the different lifestyles there. And most of the places we went in the Far East they were really poor. So it made me look around. I was from a poor family too. So I never looked down on anyone. I don't look down on anyone. So by being a councilman, I got to serve everyone. Not just one, but everyone. So that helped me. I can't believe it.
Is city councilman a full-time job?
It's a full-time job where you don't have to be at the office all day. But it's more than an 8-hour job. Like it may be from 6 in the morning to 9. I have to turn my telephone off at 9 o'clock. I take the cell phone and I put it in another room at 9 o'clock at night. Sometimes they'll call you at 2 o'clock in the morning. We have a problem over here with maybe too much noise, and they could call the police, but they'll call you. So you just have to put it to one side. So it is a long, like the last month I've been trying to get signatures to get speed breakers and speed cushions on 4 streets. And it's a hard task to do because I get up in the morning, try to catch them before they go to work. After 5 in the evening, maybe catch them. So it's different things you have to do. And if you can even be at church and they'll just stop you and say, I got a problem. But they know you have a telephone they could call you at and leave a message, but they'll catch you at any kind of function that you talk, then you got to take and put it on your cell phone or make a call right then. So it is more than a full-time job. When I was working as an electrician, I worked from 8 to 4. When I'm at home, no problem. So it is more than an 8-hour job.
Of all the places you went while you were in the Navy, what was your best experience?
Excuse me. As far as enjoying the places that I went, the best experience. I didn't understand exactly.
I guess so. Just like, where was the place that was the most memorable to you?
I guess they all have memories in my head now, you know. There was some good times and some bad times, you know. When I was in Vietnam and for Christmas '65, we were in Vietnam and we went out to see Bob Hope. You may not know Bob Hope. But he was an entertainer. Bob Hope was an entertainer. He was in Saigon, Vietnam, and we went over to see him, but we couldn't get in to see him because the parking lot was full of bicycles, so we didn't attempt to get in. And then the next morning, when it was time to leave, one of my friends, they were waiting on him, and he was going to pull off and leave him there, and he came walking up the walkway, a ramp, or whatever you want to call it. You may call it a ramp, but you could see him like maybe a block away. you could see him walking. He was walking real slow, and he had gotten in a taxi. He got in a taxi. They took him out into the countryside, and they had beat him up pretty bad, knocked his teeth out and everything. And the only reason that he got saved was because there was a regular Vietnamese soldier that had saved him. Otherwise, he would have got killed out there. So that's I remember that part there. I remember being in a lot of things, but typhoons, the ship. When the typhoon is coming in, you don't go to shore, you go to sea. You go directly into it. You don't go, you can't go like this, it'll tilt you over. So I almost fell off the captain's mast. I remember that. We'd been inside about 3 or 4 days between Guam and Vietnam, and the storm was there, so we was tired of being inside. And the regular passengers had been there while they were there was a lot of discharges on the floors from people getting sick. But we went upstairs and we were just standing around up there, and the ship, when they hit those swells, they call them swells. Like what they call a swell is from the storms and the typhoon, the waters comes up and goes down, comes up and goes down. There may be a hole as big as this out there. And when the ship hits one, it comes up, and then it goes down into the hole. Then it comes up, and then it may do this. So we was on the captain's mast, which is the top of the ship, and I almost slid off through the hole up there. I went down and never came back up again. I remember that. But I have a lot of memories, a lot of things that could come back. I could.
Councilman, you're retired, you worked a long time, and you worked hard, and for some reason you chose to run for public office, and now you work 10, 12-hour days. And I don't think the city council members are paid much. I mean, they may be paid just a little, right?
Yeah, they're paid some, but if you add it, divide the hours up, you like say an average week you're talking about working. Well, you work every day of the week, really, just about every day of the week. You know, just add up about probably just say 60 to 70 hours a week. 60.
What would that come to an hour based on what you pay?
Probably about $6 an hour.
$6 an hour.
About $6.
You're retired. Why do that? Why take all that on this time in your life? You'd be home, taking it easy. What led you to this life of service, community service?
I wanted to make some changes and let them know that District 1 was different than what they were saying. So I wanted to make some changes. That was the main reason. Because there was sometimes, and then the council, like I said, the council was kind of at odds at times. Sometimes, and I'm not holding it against the council, so don't go back and say I think they're bad people. But they were all good people, but they would just get at each other and couldn't stop. Sometime a council meeting would started at 5 and ended 8:30, whereas now we start at 5 and end at 5:45. Because we get together and we discuss what's on the agenda, and if there's something we don't like that's on the agenda, we get it taken off, and then we'll talk about it before we put it back on again, so we get it done. You know, might make some changes rather than arguing at the meeting on it.
What qualifies as District 1? Like what's your district?
District 1 is all over the city, but I can give you a close one. Most of the west side, Pine Street, on the left side of Pine Street, all the way out until you get to the corner, which would be not Cumberland. But what are 2 gas stations out there at the end? You ever been out Pine all the way?
Matco?
Yes. If you take a left there, it would go back over there, then go back into those apartments over in there. And then the other area where would be North Florence. You go all the way out. When you go out Wood Avenue, when you get to one block before you get to 7 Points Shopping Center, that is District 1 there. And then once it gets to the stop at the 7 Points, it goes out that way. So it takes in all of that and goes down to Fairground Road. You know Fairground Road? Go down to Fairground Road. On the south side of Florence, which is part of Tennessee Street, the south side of Tennessee Street all the way to when you get to the curve where St. Joseph School is, it goes over there and goes all the way to past the Coliseum, back on that road over there. That's what District 1 is. And then all the west side of Florence. So what it did, it was, District 1 was put into effect during the civil rights because they wanted a district of 59% or more minorities, so a minority would have a chance to represent them just for a voice. Doesn't mean because you still don't have a majority for a voice. They were doing it like around 1965, 66. That's what they put in the civil rights. But you can still call me if you're not in the district. You can still call me. Do any young people have any problems so far with anything going wrong with you in the city? Don't be afraid to get someone to speak up and get it corrected if you have a problem. You know, we got good policemen, but you never know. Maybe one day. Don't be afraid to come and talk. Most of them are good. They're good policemen, good officers. You know, maybe just a misunderstanding somewhere. But just don't be drinking and drive.
If you tell them about the council meetings, they might like to attend those or just attend one out of curiosity.
The council meetings are the first and third Tuesdays of each month. And we start our council meeting at 5 p.m. And we have a work session that starts at 3 p.m. that is before the council meeting. The work session, most of the time the department heads bring something forward that they might want to explain that's going to be on the agenda. So they may come to explain that. And we may take it off, we may leave it on there. And if you need to speak, you can speak. You can speak if you have something to say. There'll be a time to speak. We won't respond to you. We'll do something about it later, but we won't respond because the reason why we do not respond because we don't go back and forth, it takes time. So if you have a problem, you bring it to us and we'll listen to what you have to say and then we'll take care of it later rather than discussing it during that time. Be glad to have you come. Maybe all of you come one day. That'd be great. Any more? Oh, and I've been married 50 years now, by the way. No one else?
What's the secret to a long, happy marriage like that?
Well, for a man, he has to listen to what she has to say. You can't be the boss. They want you to be a man, but they don't want you to be the boss. Put it like that. Am I right? Is that right? Yes. What you said, she's laughing. That is true, you know. They want you to be the boss, but they do not want, they want you to be a man, but they don't want you to be the boss. They want you to tell them everything to do. They gotta have some freedom. So my wife has all the freedom she wants.
Counselor, you and I have worked together and sweated on the cemetery project. You want to tell them a little bit about that? They might like to join in at some point.
Oh, the Coffee Cemetery, General Coffee, was the one that laid out the plans for the city of Florence and bought a lot of the property. So there's a cemetery near Walmart, the new Walmart on Wood Avenue. I guess you call it Wood Avenue, and then it turns into Cloverdale. Well, south of that Walmart building, there's a General John Coffey's cemetery is there. So we started working on it last spring, I guess, maybe even last fall. Started cleaning it out, and we're going to end up, when we finish up, we're going to straighten the monuments up. I guess you call them monuments, the headstones. And and we've cleaned all around it, and we're gonna put some walkways around it. But he's one of the founding fathers of the city of Florence. Well, also right near that brick container, that container is probably the size of this room. Brick wall is probably the size of this room, and inside are the graves of his descendants, and also him and his wife and descendants all there. And then on the outer perimeter of that same one, we found like 6 graves outside of it. So we're assuming that those were the servants that were in the house, you know, because this was during the time. I don't know how many years ago. We're talking about. I don't even want to call it the number of years, how long ago. But it was before slavery had been abolished. But anyway, so the servants were buried right near that. But then the slave cemetery was across the road. So across the road, there's no recognition of names for the slaves. So we've cleaned out the cemetery where the slaves are too, and we're putting a marker that would be the size of this keyboard here, square, and about that length, with a cross on it in front of each one of those graves. And that's the only thing we have. We're gonna put a chain around the grave. We're gonna put we're gonna put a chain link around it, and then we're gonna put a marker there, and we're gonna put a big marker to tell what it's all about. And also on the other grave too, we're gonna put both of those there. And the way you find the graves, let me tell you how we find the graves while we're at it. There is a rod, maybe a little bit bigger than this, and about this long, and it has a handle on it. You push. If it goes down easy, that's a grave. Because most times that's a depression there anyway. But that's where you find what a grave is. So we put a marker there, on all of it. But we found over 130 graves that are unmarked out there. We don't know who, what, where. We don't have no names. We have no names of who said all. But we did this to honor, because I don't know, I may have a relative of mine maybe there. And the only way you find it, maybe they do a DNA one day, they can trace it down. That's what we're doing to honor them, because I can't do anything about it, but at least we're trying to recognize them as being there as a place for rest and peace. And I was out there one day, and I really told Mr. Steen, I said, and Dr. Joe was there too. I said, that's a fresh grave there. Well, the reason I said it was because it was piled up, and it had red dirt on it. It wasn't no depression on it. So I won't say what that. But anyway, we don't know if it's a fresh grave or not, because nobody has been in there till the last 2 years on that gravesite. But you could come out. They come out some Saturday from 10 to 12. Then on Wednesday they go out there from 1:30 to 3:30. But you don't have to go out and work. You can just go by and look at it. But they were the one that, General Coffey was the one that laid out the city of Florence and bought a lot of property for it. So he's one of the founding fathers of Florence. And you're talking about graves, there are a lot of graves that are marked in this city. That's a lot of them.
One more question? Anybody?
Well, one thing I can say, I didn't give up, even though I didn't get the car and didn't get to go to college. I did go back and I served apprenticeship for 4 years and made a good salary and a good job, good profession. And, so you just never give up. If you're going, just never give up. Just don't give up.
Thank you, Councilman Smith.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Before everybody gets away, I wanted to remind you all that this is homecoming week. And you're new to UNA, and so it doesn't quite maybe feel like it did at your high school when you were a senior. But here's what I want to suggest to you. And this is, I'm going to sound like a broken record because I've probably said this to some of you before. But every time you make an effort to fly the UNA flag, whether literally or figuratively, You're adding value to your degree. Okay? You're adding value to your degree. So I encourage you to get involved in the homecoming festivities. I know that our friends on the volleyball team, Macy and Victoria and Lexi, will be playing Thursday night against Kentucky State. There's a soccer game. There's men's and women's basketball that's all on Friday night. And of course, there's a football game on Saturday. There's a parade on Saturday as well at 11. My son will be in the parade. So you got to look for that little guy, that little nugget. And anyway, come out and be a part of the thing that you're already a part of. It just makes sense. And see ya. Thank you. Fresh on stuff, so to speak.
I'm going to upload the video here. I'm sure somebody may have some questions for you before you get away.
One of the Tuesdays, Miss Patterson, my English teacher,